Hello and welcome back to another Recalibrating Perspectives. And so, you know, as with all of these Recalibrating Perspectives videos, the main purpose, of course, is to raise awareness around understanding of specific health and wellbeing topics. And today is no different. Today we're going to take a little bit of a deeper dive into vision and eye health. And today I have a very special guest with me, who's a wonderful friend and colleague and optician, and one of the most popular group cycling instructors at the health club that we both kind of deliver some training at from time to time. So welcome, Andreas, to today's session. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you, Grant? Thanks for the lovely intro. I must say you look very handsome on TV.
TV. I know, it just goes to show, doesn't it? Listen, thank you so much for again sharing and investing some time and sharing your expertise and your experience with us today, Andreas. You know, our ambition today, of course, is to provide a little bit of an insight and some education and perhaps some ideas to even engage people in a little bit more understanding around perhaps common vision problems, the signs and symptoms of what to watch out for, and perhaps ways to monitor eye health. And perhaps even today, you might be able to share some of your expertise and hints and tips of how we can maintain optimal eye health and well-being. So just to begin, Andreas, if you can tell everyone that's watching here just a little bit about what it is that you exactly do.
Yeah, well, I am your average high street optician. I've been optician for around 30 odd years. I'm fairly busy with that job. It keeps me going 5-6 days a week. I combine a lot of sports in the evenings, early mornings, weekends, a lot of cycling, and I keep myself busy, and I hope to help you a little bit with some general information about eye conditions, eye health, and if anyone has specifics, they can email me later on. But today is just more of a general chit chat, really. Yeah,
lovely, and we work within that environment of health as well, and we see each other fairly regularly, I would say, at the gym, and we connect at the gym, and we both find it quite interesting talking about our experiences when we're working out or when we're teaching, and making those connections between not just physical activity and how it impacts on our mechanical and aesthetic benefits, but also its impact psychologically, mentally, emotionally, and socially, and all those sorts of things. So, we come from that perspective where we have that general interest in that health as well. And I guess one of the key questions that jumps into my brain, and I can't believe I haven't asked you this already, and because we've known each other for a long time, but it is a question that often gets kind of changed and molded somewhat. But I guess I find it fascinating reflecting around, are my eyes windows into my health? What do my eyes really reveal about me, Andreas, and my health?
Yeah, that's a good question. Your average high street there are different types of opticians. One optician will maybe just do the glasses part of the journey, and the other optician, like me, will do the eye testing. So the interesting thing for me, I've always had a thing about vision. So your average optician will check your vision as standard, but they will also look at the health of your eye. And there are certain things that we look for that will help us understand, general information about your body, your health, and your general well-being. So an eye test is not just about getting a pair of glasses. An optician is almost like a mini eye doctor. So we can look at all sorts of aspects of your blood vessels, your optic nerve, other eye conditions we look for. Diabetes, cataract, glaucoma are the most popular ones. But your average optician is the first port of call if you have any eye concerns, and you will get a full eye examination plus a health check. And if that optician has any concerns, they should discuss it with the patient, and then you get into a conversation about, you know, what needs to be done. And we look for certain aspects of eye health to discern how healthy that person is. So, for example, we will look at blood vessels and check to see if they're the correct color, diameter, whether they're hard or soft, and that could relate to blood pressure, for example. So if you're overweight and you have a poor diet high in fat, you could have hardening of your arteries. That could be a problem with blood pressure. And if we see things like that, we would refer you on to your GP to get some further tests done. So there are other things we look for as well. But yeah, it's a good first step into general health. And it's also quite interesting how a lot of people might leave their eye test for 3 or 4 years, but really the best thing is to go every 2 years and have a regular checkup. If you're over 30 to 40, it's best to get a regular check done.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand that because I recently turned 25. So
I'm 20.
But I never used to wear glasses, and of course, then I started experiencing frequent headaches.
Yeah.
And was prompted to go and get my eyes tested, and that's when they discovered actually, you know, my eyes were slightly out of filter. So your recommendation there is for Mr. or Mrs. Average just to go and get tested every year or two. Yeah,
I think that's a good idea. I mean, the common conditions that we get are headaches, blurred vision, maybe night driving problems, or they may have a sudden problem that comes overnight. That would indicate certain conditions we look for. So I think people shouldn't ignore the symptoms. So anything that comes on fairly quickly, you need to get to see your optician. They'll give you a lot of advice, and if it needs to be checked by another specialist, that can be arranged for them. But we look at all sorts of conditions. Generally, if you're over 50, you may start having problems with your vision, reading problems. You may have certain eye conditions from that age onwards. So there's a whole gamut of things that we look for: cataract, glaucoma, macular, and other eye conditions. So an average sight test will cover quite a large range of eye disease that we look for.
You mentioned a few of those diseases or conditions as glaucoma, cataract, and so on.
Yeah.
What are they the most common, or what are the most common that you come across?
Yeah, the most common ones are cataract, which is not an eye disease, it's more just an aging process. So the lens of your eye, it just becomes cloudy with age, and it will start affecting your vision in your sort of 60s, 70s. You may start just saying, my vision is just not sharp enough. I can't read very well. I need more light. I can't drive at night, so I'm getting glare from car headlights. And that's usually an indication that there's an early stage cataract. But early stages, we tend not to worry too much about that. We give people advice on early stage, or any eye diseases, early stage advice. But specifically cataract, if the vision's still fairly good, the person can wait a year or two and just live with it and adjust their lifestyle accordingly. If it's more advanced cataract and they have lost a fair bit of vision, let's say they've lost 20 or 30% of their vision and they're struggling, at that point you would decide what type of cataract it is and refer them on for surgery. The only slight issue right now is NHS is quite backlogged with work, so a routine referral can take up to 6 months to be seen. So we might offer private as well. That's possible. So given what you've just said there, as there's a bit of a backlog and there might be a waiting time.
if you do notice some of those signs and symptoms that you've referred to, and you've mentioned many actually, if you do notice some of those, what kind of, and you can't get to see the optician, what could you do? What kind of lifestyle activities or habits would be most beneficial then to improve or maintain eye health?
Well, I think what's important is a low-fat diet, body weight, exercise, usual things. That's very important. Some people make the mistake of going to their GP, who doesn't know much about the eyes, and it sort of delays things. So you're best to see your optician first if you have any vision-related problems. The other condition I didn't mention to you was that as you age, you can get something called macular degeneration. So I'll tell you a bit about that if you want to.
Sure.
So that's to do with wear and tear at the back of the eyes. There are generally two types. One is called dry, one is called wet. The dry type is early stage wear and tear, and you can just have a very subtle change in your vision over a long period of time. Not much treatment for that apart from good diet. Fruit and veg is very good, lots of coloured fruit and vegetables. Sometimes multivitamins can help. Plenty of fluids and a bit of exercise doesn't do any harm. The other type is called wet macular. That's more a sort of swelling at the back of the eye, more leaking blood vessels, fragile blood vessels, a bit more serious, comes on fairly quickly, can affect your vision, you can become distorted fairly quickly. And if that happens, optician first, and then maybe straight to see an eye specialist. But optician would always be the first step.
Nice, yeah.
And the other thing you may have heard about is glaucoma. Glaucoma is an eye disease, generally in the 40 to 50 age group or higher. Roughly 2% of the population have that, and it's to do with pressure. So if your pressure's a bit high, it can damage the eye, and it can affect your peripheral vision. So there's a routine eye test covers quite a few bases. But if you want to look after yourself, day-to-day stuff is good exercise, body weight, Mediterranean diet, lots of fish, fruit and veg, and a good diet. And that is the best you can do, and plus a regular eye test.
Yeah, no, love that. I got one, as you were talking there, one question just jumped into my brain, and it was around kind of perhaps, is there anything, Andreas, about kind of my medical history or family history that might put me at risk of eye disease or eye disorders more than anyone else?
Yeah, that's a very good question. The family history is actually very important. So when you go for your eye test, the optician should ask you if you have any family history of any eye conditions or previous ocular history, if you've been to hospital before for your eyes. But family history is important with macular and glaucoma. The other thing to remember is smoking is not good for the eyes. Now, smoking with recent studies has proved that it affects the macula. So if you have macular degeneration, the first thing you'll be told is to stop smoking. It's not good news. So if you can ditch that, that would be brilliant. But yeah, family history, smoking, and well-being is all very important things. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'd just like to add that don't just stop smoking because you may have eye issues. If you are smoking and you are a smoker, then the single best thing you can do for your health and well-being is to cut down and stop.
Of course. Yeah, I'm an advocate of good health anyway. So, but I'll try and keep it to the eyes if we can.
Super. Thank you. I guess here at Wellbeing People and the viewers watching, many of which will be from our kind of social media communities, both in Facebook and LinkedIn, they may well recognise that we focus on what we call 1% progress experiments, Andreas. So what that means is
Say that again.
1% progress experiments. So what that means is that we encourage people to embrace that win-learn kind of mindset. As long as we're attempting something, we're either gonna win from the experience. It's going to be a winning experience for us, and we're going to kind of embed it into our behaviours, or it's going to be a learning experience from us. It's going to be something that we can reflect around, perhaps adapt or change, or even remove and try something different.
Yeah.
So that progress mindset becomes really important, and we encourage reflection and then simplify these habits. So I guess what I'm getting at here is to ask you, if you could, Andreas, encourage a person to start doing just one thing that will give them marvelous results when it comes to their eye health, what would you want them to do?
Well, I'll give you one big one or three small ones.
Or is the one big one part of the three small ones?
Yeah.
Okay, give us the three small ones.
What they need to do is regular eye tests. If you're over 40, regular eye testing is very important. So every 2 years would be great. Secondly, a good diet. So if you can tweak your diet a bit, less fatty diet, more of a Mediterranean type diet. Olive oil is very good for you. Omega-3 is good for you, good for your eyes. And the third thing would be to protect your eyes from ultraviolet. Now, ultraviolet is known, it's called the blue light hazard. So if you're exposed to UV on a fairly regular basis, you get an accumulative effect over the years, and it can damage the back of your eye. So if you spent a lot of time in the sun and you want to protect yourself, good quality sunglasses, nice little peaked hat, cut the glare. That's just common sense things, but they all are very good for long-term eye health.
Fabulous. I didn't know that about the UV having that really damaging accumulative impact on our eye health.
Very important, UV protection. Yeah.
Oh.
Most glasses now have UV protection inbuilt into the glasses, so you don't have to ask for it, but most will have that. If you're not sure, just ask for a tint or a lens that changes color. They have good UV protection, and especially if you've got a family history, that's really important.
Yeah. Lovely. I love that. So there's your 1% progress experiments. So
UV, diet, and a regular test.
So there we go. We'll simplify that even further and invite our people that are watching here today to perhaps select one of those. And the number one was those regular tests. Yeah. So I guess schedule that in, diarise it today, diarise it as soon as possible for your next eye test.
Yeah, very much.
Brilliant. Okay, I just want to kind of finish up just by getting and asking really your insight around well-being, because here at Wellbeing People, I guess on a daily basis, I ask this question at least 3 or 4 times. So I'm going to ask you, Andreas, and hopefully you could share some of your wonderful insights. But what does optimal well-being mean to you?
Optimal well-being is very simple. Regular exercise, good diet, and smiling all day. Being happy helps your well-being.
I love that. No one's ever started it. I mean, it's absolutely. I mean,
if you look up to the sun and you're smiling, you're a happy guy. If you're looking down, you're miserable. Not going to get you anywhere, is it?
No one's ever started the answer to that question with, "Oh, it's simple." I love that. Absolutely brilliant. I guess got a couple of other questions just to really understand a little bit about you and what you do as well. What's one of the main misconceptions, perhaps, that people have about the work that you do, Andreas?
I'm sometimes concerned that they don't really understand an optician's role. They may see us as just a high street outfit that sells glasses, but actually there's quite a lot of medical training that goes on behind the scenes for opticians. So they are very well trained in most eye conditions, and most can be dealt with just advice on, say, lighting or magnification or certain types of glasses, but it can be more medical if it needs to be. So don't dismiss your optician as just as a high street seller of glasses. They are like mini doctors. That's quite important to remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. And we've already agreed that it going for an eye test is an insight, isn't it? It is a window and an opportunity to dive into your health.
Yeah. It's always fascinating looking inside someone's eye. I mean, it's nice looking at the outside as well, yeah. Especially if they're handsome like you. But if you look in the eye, it's very interesting to look at the nerve and the blood vessels and the colours and the textures. It's really interesting, and just working out what's going on with the eye. It's quite nice. Yeah, I love it.
I read recently that the eye, outside of the brain, is the most complex organ in the body, other than your brain. So,
well, yeah, I read the same thing, and I think the stats are that 70% of the brain's information comes through the eyes.
Wow.
So the eyes are sort of like maintenance free, aren't they? They're not like your teeth have to be brushed every day, but you can't do much for your eyes. But actually you can if you go to your optician on a regular basis, have a good diet.
Yeah, love that. Brilliant. Okay, one final question, I guess, Andreas, and it's been wonderful listening to all your insights and stuff like that. But what is your kind of passion project at the moment? So, what gets you out of bed in the morning?
If the sun's up and it's a nice early start to the day, it'll be straight to the spin class, straight to work. I love a busy day. I like being active. I like making people happy.
Nice. Get you.
Yeah, it's true.
And that's why, Andreas, that's why we are we like to kind of, blow our own trumpets a little bit when it comes to spinning instructors, right? We kind of fluff each other up a little bit, we're the best. Fabulous. Okay. Just finally, I guess one more thing, Andreas. Where can people find out a little bit more about you, or if they wanted to contact you to ask you any further information or pose any questions for you, where can they contact you?
Yeah, if they want to contact me, I'm very happy to take emails. No problem with that at all. My email address is andreas9326@gmail.com, and happy to respond to any questions they might have. I can't be specific without seeing people, but if they have any real questions, let me know, and I'll try and help them out. Yeah.
Yeah, lovely. And I asked you this at the start, well, just before we started the session today, are you on social media and LinkedIn and things like that? And you said, no, that's not your bag at the moment.
I haven't got time for all that stuff. I'm too busy spinning.
Yes, too busy enjoying life by the sound of things. Fabulous. Well, listen, it's been such a wonderful, short time here talking to you and getting a little bit of an insight into your views around eye health and what we can do to improve it. And I love those calls to action about diet, exercise, and of course regular eye tests as well.
Yeah.
It just remains for me to say thank you so much from myself and from Wellbeing People for you to join us and invest some of your time today. So thank you, Andreas.
Thank you very much. Nice to see you. See you soon.